All right. Hello. Just gonna make a quick summary of the day. It was a tough start to the week for myself. Just Mondays are always tough for me to get in a rhythm. And then add to the fact that we've got this super juicy gap area here in ES still trying to get filled. We open up, around, let's see, where is this open? Open up around here. And immediately started to pop towards it. Looked like for sure it's gonna fill. So I got, it was enough to have the FOMO to get in there. I got in like first thing, still kind of waking up and just kind of, just not all there yet, not warmed up for the day and for the week yet. And got long. I think I was up. I don't remember where I got long. I got long somewhere around here, 70s or whatever. And and just held it. But then I didn't let go till it was really too late on this short, or on the reversal. I probably got rid of it somewhere down here around VWAP. I got back in for this bounce. I don't even remember at this point what I did. I kept trying to, I held through this looking like it was going to bounce. And I got back to break even somewhere in there. But then I kept holding. I kept getting back in. Same thing on NQ. And then I went negative again. And then I finally, somewhere in here, the break of these previous low, I got short. So I made some back there. I got short. I think I cut an ES around 55.27 from about 55.38. And I was short a little bit bigger than I normally would on NQ here, right around this break. I think it was like short, average like 419.438 maybe. What I really wanted was this point of control. And I got there pretty quick, but I didn't have it in me to hold all of it that whole way, but I held decent and made pretty decent there. But then once that stat hit, that's where I tried to get long, and I got long and just I held it way too long. I held it thinking that we'd get some sort of bounce back up to this area of where we broke, back up to here. We almost did in ES, and I did take some off there, but I still held, and I held through here and just took heat. Even though it was super small, it was it shouldn't be doing that. Shouldn't be holding for that long. I was fighting the trend. Look at this. But I just felt the whole time, I just still felt like through all this, I felt like bears were losing momentum. I felt like we're still in a bullish tape. We still have that gap above. We had previous days value area high and in Q right here. That would that's got to be a bounce level in my head at least. And we're just above previous days low. So the look of that. And then you add there is some divergence here in stochastics. You see we made a lower low in both of these, ES and NQ. Made a lower low in price, but a higher low, a significantly higher low on stochastics. That's a bullish look. The only drawback of that is that you're fading the trend. But it did work out. I held through it. I was taking little scalps, I'd just basically improve my average repeatedly. Just basically trying to get back my loss on the day. And then once stochastics turned here, I was in a little bit bigger, and I held for this high in NQ 19,356, and I held for the final one that I got out, I think was 16 or so, 55.16 in ES. And at that point, I was definitely was like feeling exhausted, mentally exhausted. Just, you know, having to work at back all day, work back the P&L, making up for the early mistake. I think that's the same thing I did Friday. I started off the day with just a loss to begin with, and then the whole day was fighting it back. So I can definitely feel some like pressure, some like, you know, bad habits building up, bubbling up. Still trying to figure out how to kind of reset. It might be at this point, I think I might have to, tomorrow might be the day that I get back on the live stream and actually trade on the live stream. It might help me to vocalize my ideas a little bit more. Excuse me. And have a little more restraint on my entries. But either way, I did get it done today. I just had to flip these 6 accounts. I think I have one more flip day for these, and then I'll request 12,000. And then I just needed to make a little bit more on these 2, and then I'll request for those. I think I should now have to flip those 3 days, and I'll request like 2,400 on those. And these, man, these like 6 have been inching closer every day, and I keep thinking that I'm gonna have a good day to finally get them to pay out. Today could have been that day if I was a little bit patient and if I had taken my loss early on that long. If I had just taken care of business up there, it could have been a lot easier day. I could have bought some bounces here. Could have probably saw I was definitely, it definitely had the look like it was going lower all through here. Or at least, no, I shouldn't say that. This looked like it was bouncing, but when it couldn't get through this level, and once it started to come back and test here, it did look like it wanted to fade. I could have easily, the fact that I came back from what I did, yeah, the day could have been a lot. If I didn't have the loss to begin with, I could have been a good solid sized day, but it was still a win. So I'm not going to complain. I'm happy to get out of it alive. So maybe a couple more good days in these 6 accounts and I can finally request for those as well. Still working on these 6 new, those got a ways to go. But anyway, just wanted to recap what I did and saw on the day. At this point, it's the fact that we did actually bounce in an area that makes sense. Value area low, previous day's value area low, and NQ above yesterday's low in ES. It feels like it still wants to try to get this gap higher before we get the gap way lower. The gap way lower in ES is all the way down to 53.38. So if that feels like that's going to need some like negative news catalyst to get down there. That's like, it'd be like a solid 200 points lower, which we can easily get. We can, you never know what we're going to get right now with these headlines and all the macro stuff going on. But it's still generally bullish. I guess besides the macro headlines, we now have earnings coming up. It's Wednesday and Thursday are big tech earnings. I think it's like Amazon, and I can double check that. Wednesday, Microsoft, Meta. Thursday, Amazon, Apple. Yeah, those are big ones. So those are going to be, Mark's going to be really looking at those. Those will be some catalysts. Let's see what we have macro or for econ data. Jolts tomorrow, whatever. GDP Wednesday morning. PCE. Wednesday morning. Jobs, payrolls, unemployment on Friday. So, you know, there's some stuff. There's definitely some catalysts that could happen this week. So I'm gonna have to remember to stay nimble. That's always the goal. So I think I think I'm gonna go ahead and commit to trying to trade on the live stream tomorrow, just to break up the pressure and see what happens. We'll just see what happens. All right. Well, that was the summary for today. Positive day. So happy again. All right. See you tomorrow.